following was based on a writing prompt, which was as follows. Valhalla does not discriminate against the kind of fight you lost. Did you lose the battle with cancer? Maybe you died in a fistfight. Even facing addiction. After taking a deep drink from his flagon, Odin slams his cup down and asks for the glorious tale of your demise. The following response was written by Ninalyn. A small child enters Valhalla. The battle lost was hiding from an alcoholic father. Odin sees the flinch when he slams the cup and refrains from doing it again. He hears the child's pain. No glorious battle this, but one of fear and wretched survival. He invites the child to sit with him, offers the choicest mead, and instructs his men to bring a sword and shield, bow and arrow, of the very best material and appropriate size. Here, he says, you will find no man who dares to harm you, but you will know your own strength, and be happy all your days in Valhalla. I will teach you to use these weapons. The sad day comes when another child enters the home. Odin does not slam his cup. He simply beams with pride as the first child approaches the newcomer and holds out her bow and quiver and says, "Nobody here will hurt you. Everyone will be so proud you did your best, and I'll teach you to use these so you always know how strong you are." A man enters the home. He hesitates when Odin asks his story, but at long last, it ekes out. Skinheads after the Pride Parade. His partner got into a building and called for help, but the police took a little longer than perhaps they needed to, and the two of those self-same skinheads are in the hospital now with broken bones that need setting. But 6 against 1 is no fair match. The fear in his face is obvious. Here, among men large enough to break him in two, will he face an eternity of torment for the man he left behind? Odin rumbles with anger, curses the low worms who brought this man to his table, and regales him with tales of Loki, so to show him his own welcome. A day will come, my friend, when you seek to be reunited, and so you shall, Odin tells him. To request the aid of your comrades in battle is no shameful thing. A woman in pink sits near the head of a table. She is very nearly skin and bones and has no hair. This will not last. Health returns in Valhalla, and joy and light and merrymaking. But now her soul remembers the battle of her life, and it must heal. Odin asks, and asks again. And the words pour out like poisoned water, things she couldn't tell her husband or child. The pain of chemotherapy, the agony of a mastectomy, the pain still deeper of, "We found a tumor in your lymph nodes, I'm so sorry." And at last, the tortured question, "What is left of her?" Odin raises his flagon high. "What is left of you, fair warrior queen? A spirit as bright as fire, a will as strong as any forged iron, a life as great as any sea. Your battle was hard fought, and lost in the glory only such furrow can bring, and now the pain and fight are behind you." In the months to come, she became a scop of the hall. No demotion, but simple choice. She tells the stories of the great healers, Agnes and Tanya, who fought alongside her, thousands of others, She tells the story of the great healers, Agnes and Tanya, who fought alongside her and thousands of others, who turned from no battle in the belief that one day, the war may be won. The warriors Jesse, Mabel, and Jerry and Monique still battling on, the queens and soldiers and great women of yore. The day comes when she calls a familiar name. And another small, scarred woman, eyes sunken and dark, limbs frail, curly black hair shaved close to her head, looks up and sees her across the hall. Odin descends from his throne, a tall, foaming goblet in his hand, and stuns the entire hall to silence as he kneels before the newcomer and holds up the goblet between her dark, small hands and bids her to drink. "Allfather!" the feasting multitudes cry. "What brings great Odin, spear shaker, ancient one, wand bearer, teacher of gods, to his knees for this lone waif?" He waves them off with a hand. "This woman, Latisha, destroyer of cancer, for whom the great two must fly in fear, has fought the greatest battle," he says, his voice rolling across the hall. "She has fought no other body but her own, traded blows with no other limbs but her own flesh, has allowed herself to be pierced with needles and scoured with knives, taken poison into her very veins to defeat this enemy, and at long last it is time for her to put her weapons down. Do you think for a moment this fight is less glorious for being in silence? Her deeds the less for having been aided by others who provided her weapons? She has a place in this great hall, indeed, the mightiest place." And the children performed feats of archery for the entertainment of all. And the women sing as a young man who still waits his beloved plays a lute, which after all is not so different from a guitar he once used to break a man's face in that great final fight. Valhalla is a place of joy, of glory, of great feasting and merrymaking. And it is a place for the soul, the mind, to heal. The assembled crowd pauses in their feasting and carousing, all confusion when the newest arrival comes. Some of them are older and have never seen someone the like. Some have only been here a few short years, and look on her with sympathy. She is beckoned, as always, to Odin's table, and as always, asked for her name and her tale. Her voice is quiet, unsure, and afraid. "My name is Leela." The assembled crowd is all confusion. Odin only raises his flagon high. "And Leela, warrior queen, tell us the tale of your great battle." The tale does not entertain. It brings tears. A girl cut from her sisterhood, fighting the daily twin demons of body and mind. Every day forced to answer not to the name Hugin and Murin will keep her by, but by one thrust on her at birth, dragged forcibly from those who would call her sister and friend. Loki's gift of transformation was not hers, and so she stands before Odin, gallows-burdened, awaiting judgment. A red-headed man in an ancient leather armor raises a flagon. "All hail Leela, wise woman, great warrior!" The shouts echo through the hall, up and down in every mouth the ancient gods of yore and the legendary heroes, and those unsung brave warriors of centuries untold, and the pink-clad Skop in the corner with her unbound hair a glossy curtain to her waist. And as the last shouts fade away, Odin raises his flagon again. Layla, great warrior, who has found favor with the assembled of Valhalla, you are most welcome here, he says. But I make you the offer as well of an audience with Freya, giver, lady of the slain, to enter her hall if you find favor, and there learn the ways of women and find your sisterhood. Layla is conveyed that very day to Volkvanger in the company of the Valkyries. She does not return, but instead a slender man in simple clothes enters Valhalla in the same company with which Layla left. Odin, as always, inquires. My name, the man says, is Brandon. Now I found this on Tumblr, and before you complain or anything, I love the idea of the message. And I don't often do this, where I do a little bit of analysis. In a world where things are crazy and people are discovering more about themselves every day, this sort of thing is important. Knowing that everyone fights a battle for survival, for their own being. And we empathize with those battles because we struggle our daily lives with our own problems. I'd like to thank Ninalyn for this wonderful tale, for this wonderful vision of a Valhalla, very similar to my own beliefs as a Catholic. The belief that God is love, and that we all have our battles, but in the end we will find respite in the next life. Again, I don't usually do this kind of thing, and I don't like to put my ideas out there for people. Mine is just to entertain. But I want to take this moment to say that this very important message simply is, you are not alone in your fight, and that no matter what you struggle with, you are still worthy. And despite your struggles, despite your failings, do not give up. For even in this life, you do not overcome your battle. You will find respite and rest and love in hopefully the next. So as always, thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope to see you in the future. Sweet dreams and pleasant nightmares, or in this case, just sweet dreams. Wake up, my dear friend. Come on now. Come back from the land of Nod. There you go. I know it's dark. Take your time. Take